Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is the DOUG here once again for the main event. It is April 11th here tonight, and of course, you know what we're here to talk about. We got Raw, we got SmackDown, the main event, and we're going to be bashing somebody tonight, and of course, all buy or sell. But before we get to that, I must remind you that WCC's main event is brought to you by the Order for the PlayStation 4. The new NFL film that came out today in theaters, and Pizza Hut. I'm going to be introducing you to my round table. Of course, you know who I am. But joining me to my left, she is the lovely but deadly Miss Kara.
Hello, Doug. It's nice to be alongside of you this week. It's always a pleasure, man. Always.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment from the lovely Kara. And also joining us, he is our third partner. He is one half of WCC's Bill Money Incorporated. Because I am Robert Root, and he is James Storm. Of course, I'm talking about Captain Ron.
Oh, my, look what we have here. Hello, dumbasses out there. We're back. Your number one show on the WCC Network returns once again to stake claim to their throne and have a better title reign than CM Punk.
Ooh, but before we get to Karen about Raw, I must say something. Last week, I did get some emails from some of our Ring of Honor fans who are a little upset that we did not do Ring of Honor last week. I apologize for that, but don't worry, we will be doing big stuff with Ring of Honor later in the show. But let's go to the USA Network and talk about Monday Night Raw, the night after WrestleMania. Kara, we saw returns. We saw a new champion. And unfortunately, for one person, that was the last time they would ever be seen on television.
But we'll get to that later, because... yeah. Anyway, so Raw, I can't actually say too many bad things about Raw this week because it was actually good. You better write that down, WWE, because I actually liked your show for once. Congratulations.
What?
All right, so it kicked off with the Daniel Bryan promo. He talks about WrestleMania and how basically he had his moment. Triple H comes out and basically, he's doing the heel thing, and he and Stephanie are just bitching. Ultimately, by the end of the segment, he creates a match with him and Daniel Bryan for that WWE World Heavyweight Championship for the main event. So that's that, and it's pointless. The first match of the evening that we had was the Wyatts versus Sheamus, John Cena, and Big E. The Wyatts ended up winning this match. Personally, I didn't take any notes, but I'm glad the Wyatts kicked Sheamus and John Cena's ass. Big E, I don't have a problem with.
It's a black thing. It's all good.
Well, you notice...
Actually, no, I wouldn't be racist around black people.
Oh, no. Don't worry, Kara. That's not your job to be racist. Yeah. It's my ex-girlfriend's job to be racist. Next.
Well, I will say that before just in case no one noticed, Big E actually took the pinfall. So it's pretty sad. Big E will do the job, but John Cena ran away. Moving on.
And Sheamus, he's just an Irish version of John Cena. Anyway...
Wow.
The next match was a mixed tag team match, Fandango and Summer Rae versus Santino and Emma, and I totally didn't write down a winner for that, but I knew it was Santino and Emma.
Yeah, that match, we should not even talk about it. I'm going to put EL on this.
Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we will not see Summer Rae with Fandango anymore. Fuck you, WWE. You can go kiss my ass and go to hell.
Yeah,
actually, I think it's a good. I think it'd be a good move for WWE to sit here and let Summer Rae try to weed out on her own. I mean, she has been getting more into the spotlight than Fandango, and they're probably thinking in their head that a year ago this guy was like hot shit, and all of a sudden he's just cold as ice.
But then they put Layla back on the screen. That's my problem. Okay.
Yeah, Captain Ron.
Oh, professional Layla hater. Anyway. Off of that bullshit. The next thing was basically Lesnar and Heyman come out, Heyman, of course, does all the talking. Basically, they're talking about breaking the streak, and the crowd was pissed off. And I'm sorry. I made this prediction before. I knew it was going to happen, and I'm sad that I was right, but it happened. So,
I mean, deep down, I think everybody is pretty pissed off about it. But I think, in all fairness, I think they like the fact that, at least in some way, shape, or form, Brock didn't rub it in like he did with Big Show. He just ran with it and just made it somewhat a respectable victory. But hey, in all honesty, everybody's going to be pissed off about it. Of course they're going to be, because it's the streak. It was the only reason most people got WrestleMania. But now that's over, what's next?
And whether people want to admit this, guys, I've been saying this a lot, especially over the past week. Undertaker was only wrestling one day a year, and even after that match, he wasn't even in very good shape. He wasn't going to get any better. So personally, I think it's best that he, lost the streak. I'm sorry, but it was going to happen eventually.
Caleb,
I think it would have been better. Yes, Douglas.
I had to hang up because I was trying to say something, but I think the stupid phone service we have for WCC decided to kick me out again. Anyway.
Nice job. Blame it on L.A.
Yeah, I know. Well, here's what, because I wanted to say something with Summer Rae. Summer Rae is leaving WWE because, not the company, she's going to go film the Marine 4 with The Miz. So we probably won't see Miz on TV for a few weeks. Same with Summer Rae.
We haven't seen The Miz on TV in months. It hasn't, and not a single fuck was given then, not a single fuck will be given now.
But I like The Miz, but that's just my own personal opinion because I was seeing him when he was on Tough Enough. Now I know somebody else joined in right when I called back in. So who is number 4 in this show tonight?
There was no.
I thought there was. Anyway.
I'm just here hustling.
Oh, did I hear Gator?
Holy shit! Holy cockbiters! Holy cockbiters, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever.
Hello.
Gator, host of Sex Battles, comes and joins the table. Come have a drink. This is going to be fun.
I got to see what the fuck Doug is doing to beat me. I mean,
it's not just Doug, honey.
There is a time and a place for everything.
Don't discount every other member aboard the main event board. So
no, I'm just playing. I'm
well,
actually,
people
I got
just love
to watch
controversy
SmackDown.
and assholes.
Well, I got to watch SmackDown with everybody else for the first time in I don't know how long. So I figured I'd come in and speak my piece.
Let's see how long it takes to get to SmackDown, because we're not going to talk a lot about it.
Yeah, we'll skip the most.
Okay, so the next thing was you had Randy Orton and Batista, because earlier they were bitching in the backstage segment.
Okay, hold on. No. We're not talking about that match. Skip that pathetic excuse of a match.
Okay. I'm good. Ladies and gentlemen, RVD returned to the WWE to beat Damian Sandow.
And we're welcome.
Yeah, that match was utterly pointless. You could tell, like, when RVD came on, I was like, yeah, there's no point in watching this match.
It's going to be a squash match. Sandow didn't deserve it, but hey, well. I wonder how long it'll take for RVD to go away again. Anyway.
It's April. Just give it till next week.
Oh, wow. That's just, like, harsh. Jeez, you just can't keep you fucking happy for shit, Doug. You're worse than a fucking woman. No offense, Kara.
Oh, no.
I think I said that before, Ron.
Thank you.
I'm about to get happy because we're about to talk about the greatest wrestler of the year, my big brother, Wade Barrett.
Yeah, Mysterio took on Wade Barrett, and I believe Wade Barrett won that match, yes?
Oh, yes, he did.
I didn't write it down.
He beat up Rey Mysterio.
Y'all gonna start talking about race. I'm gonna just say that now. That's my whole point.
Holy flaming uvulas. Is that Roo? Scooby-Roo?
And we're doing the Scooby-Doo film tomorrow, all right? So let's not be tricky.
Oh, come on, Shaggy. He'll be okay. You got Scooby in here now.
Right?
No,
Okay.
I think it's because you smoke weed. I mean,
Yeah, quite possibly. It could be that.
yeah. Who y'all talking about?
Legalizing.
Oh, please let them do that shit.
Anyhow, Miss Kara, we're sorry. You were saying.
Okay, so everyone, congratulations. We got our average dose of Let's Squash Zack Ryder with the debut, finally, of Alexander Rusev and its squash match. So
It wasn't even about the match. It was about the Gators Nets ex-wife.
I'm saying, man, it's a wrap. Lana, woo! Damn. Hot diggity damn. I'm going to let her know now. It's over. It is
okay.
over.
Match. That was a funeral. And I would like to thank
Rest in peace, Zack Ryder. I'm surprised you still have a career.
We wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Oh, anyway. Moving on, we'll skip that segment because we're talking about the Ultimate Warrior later. All right, so the thing after that is an AJ Lee promo. She comes out and she talks about how she won a WrestleMania when everyone who was paying attention knew that it was a fake win. I love AJ, but I mean, I saw it and it's like, I'm surprised the referees didn't see it. I'm surprised they didn't pull out any cams. But anyway, to the interesting part of this segment, for the first time on screen, everyone's been bitching about it, including me. It finally happens. I'm talking on the phone. I know that he's not going to be here next Friday. Okay. Anyway.
Holy shit.
Sorry, I was interrupted by my mother. Oh,
sorry,
viewers
Mom.
at home,
We'll be quiet
ignore
now.
the mother in the background.
No comment.
Anyway, the on-screen debut of Paige. Yay.
Yeah.
She comes out basically to congratulate AJ Lee, and AJ Lee has a very thick skull, and she was pretty much like, oh, I don't need your thanks or your congratulations, but thank you. And basically, she gets a referee out there, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to give you this match. And Paige apparently wasn't ready. But when the match got started, Paige went up there, and guess what? We have a new champion.
Yes.
And now,
finally, we get, no offense to AJ, we have a new champion, and maybe the division will get better from there on.
Ooh. Finally.
So yes, one of the
like
best things that happened on Raw.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget, Paige becomes the first wrestler in WWE who was born in the 90s to win a title.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, she's a puppy.
She was one of the few wrestlers who debuted on screen that actually straight out won the title. They're like on her first time even in the ring. I think there's been 3 or 4 occasions. So
she joined a very great list. She joins Eminem, John Morrison, and Joey Murphy. She joins Carlito.
Don't forget Christian in his first on-screen match. He
not
won
only,
the title.
and not to mention Santino Marella, who actually defeated Umaga with a little help.
She joins Santino and Christian as well.
Yes. Anyway, after that, you're saying?
Oh, no, never mind. Go ahead.
And she joins Gail Kim, because Gail Kim won it on her first night as well.
Oh, yeah.
Now, which Gail Kim are we talking about? We talk about Gail Kim with the old face or Gail Kim with the new face? Because I got to be honest, I can't tell the difference anymore.
Gail Kim before she got the boob job.
I'm talking about the face. Fuck the boobs.
I'm sorry, I never paid attention to her face.
I just really don't pay much attention to plastics anymore.
Ooh.
And that's why I do not look at the Bellas. Moving on.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh, anyway.
You better leave them girls alone. Why not?
After that was the Andre the Giant trophy presentation. Well, basically, it wasn't presented. Jack Swagger ended up destroying the trophy. But during that segment, Cesaro was revealed to be a new Paul Heyman guy. So finally, he gets away from Jack Swagger, and he kind of just like goes out on his own. So Paul Heyman, I know he's going to end up helping him. That's my opinion, of course.
No.
Immediately following that is a leadoff match, Jack Swagger versus Cesaro. Cesaro ends up winning by countout. And then finally, we get to our main event match of the evening, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. There's a lot of shenanigans that gets pulled in this match. Randy Orton and Batista come out to attack Daniel Bryan, and then Kane does. Basically, everyone's like, hey, let's go attack Daniel Bryan. And that's what Triple H wanted. He wanted to make sure that Daniel Bryan got his ass beat and he didn't win. When, basically, that was the opposite. I think he won by count out, if I believe so.
I don't even know if that match I can even honestly start just because of the clusterfuck known as, well, three very, very, very pissed off NXT grads.
Well,
yeah,
I believe the official decision was a no contest.
Okay.
So
basically, the interesting part at the end is when the Shield comes out, and basically they help Daniel Bryan and finally break free of the whatever their place was inside the Authority, and I think that's like a complete and total face turn for them now for helping Daniel Bryan. So there we are.
Yep, they're completely facing out, and I would also like to point out, because I don't think no one pointed it out, before the Shield came out, some of the fans in the audience were screaming for a three-man band to come out.
I totally didn't hear that, but that's funny.
Somebody in New Orleans must have been passing out drugs for the fans to say we want 3MB to come out instead of Shield.
Okay.
Who was passing around the drugs in New Orleans?
Also, I want to say, before we get off of Raw, I don't know if we're going to mention it later, but next week's Raw will be dedicated to the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, I believe that was announced today, so.
Yes. During the show, too, they were showing it on a bar line as SmackDown was rolling. Anyway, that is all of Raw. If anyone else has got anything to say it, and then we'll pass it to Doug for his.
Yeah, I got a question. I know the camera sits here and like does some crazy things to people, but today, is Paige always that white, or did she have herself a little fun before she came out there?
She is
No. Paige is a pale motherfucker.
Because that was a white, really, really, really white face, and I'm kind of wondering who got a hold of her before she walked out that curtain.
Well, because remember, she's from Europe, so she's kind of like Sheamus, but actually has talent.
She's always been that color. Like even down at NXT, when you watch her, she's still that bright. And NXT is like somewhat of a dim lighted arena.
And it also depends on what kind of definition you're watching on. If you're watching on high definition, you're definitely going to see it more than when you're not. So,
I saw a nipple on high def. Does that count?
Oh, God. But I will say this. For the love of God, Lord, if I'm ever at a beach, do not let Paige and Sheamus be walking next to each other, or else I might go blind.
Well, it's kind of like, Paige, you basically comparing Paige to Sheamus is kind of like an insult to Paige.
No. I mean skin color-wise. Think about it. They're both so white that if you stuck them out in the bright sun, the skin would reflect and hit you in the eyes and make you go blind kind of shit. Like when bald people shine their head up real nice, they go outside and they just beam their head down and blind everybody.
Not on duty.
Well, we are done with Raw now, I believe, right, Sarah?
Yes, that's it for Raw.
And it's time, before we get to the main event, we are going to one of the new things we've been doing here on our show, Buy or Sell. Now, if you never heard of this thing before, we are pretty much going to ask the question and either going to buy it or sell it. Now, if you're buying it, it means you actually agree with that. If you're selling, you're saying we are full of shit. Now, of course, I am going to go first on this one. So, Kayla, catch your breath. And this buy or sell question has to do with Antonio Cesaro and Paul Heyman. As Kayla just said, they have recently joined up. So my buy or sell question is this. Are they just doing that because Brock Lesnar is going to be leaving television for a few months?
So are you asking, do we buy Antonio Cesaro as a Paul Heyman guy?
Pretty much, if you're buying this, you're saying that you are buying that Cesaro is replacing Brock Lesnar for the next few months.
Well, I will sell it because I think it is a complete. Now, it's not so much of a waste of time, but it's like you got to pick the direction that you're going to go in with Cesaro. Like, Cesaro is a great athlete, and he's got all the tools to be a main event. This we get. Then it's like the reaction he gets a reaction where it's like you could potentially turn him babyface. Then it's like you pair him with Paul Heyman, that's going to instantly draw you heat because Paul Heyman has always been aligned with the top heels. Anybody Paul Heyman has been with over his WWE tenure has been a legit top heel. So it's like, are you aiming to make Cesaro a face because of the reaction he's getting, or are you aiming to legitimize him as a top heel by sticking, a mouthpiece with him?
I have to say I am buying this, though I think there's a couple of reasons why they placed him with Paul Heyman. Because basically when they place people with Paul Heyman, they try to make them better, try to make a name for themselves. Unfortunately for some people, it just didn't help. And also there's that other reason that, yes, almost every time he gets a new Paul Heyman guy, Brock Lesnar's leaving. So definitely going to buy on that.
So we got one sell, I believe. I heard two buys, I think. So who's left before I give you my answer?
Me. You know what? I'm actually going to sell this because you actually said that Cesaro is replacing Brock Lesnar. Let's just make this clear. Brock Lesnar doesn't have real legitimate talent, so why in the hell are you thinking comparing Cesaro to Brock? Cesaro actually has talent. To buy Cesaro as a Paul Heyman guy, I could deal with. But to say he's buying it just until Brock decides he wants to, stop getting his ass kicked in UFC again is an insult. But I will actually sell it mainly because if you're sitting here trying to say Cesaro is doing this and everyone's putting Cesaro with Paul Heyman until Brock comes back, then fuck it. You might as well just sit here and just send him back, send him to TNA now and call it a happy day because that's about as good as it's going to get.
Wow. I'm buying it, of course, because, for one simple reason, or two reasons. One, they probably wanted to leave Paul Heyman in the show, because of Lesnar leaving. They probably wanted to stick him with somebody. So stick him with Cesaro. Second thing, I'm also buying it for this reason. We know Lesnar is not that talented. And I'm sure when he comes back, and this is why I'm buying this, because Cesaro will become the one thing Lesnar could never be, the great monster heel. Because let's remember, Cesaro may not be the tallest wrestler. He's a guy who can make you believe with the way he looks and how strong he is, he can beat the fuck out of you. Probably more better than Lesnar ever could. And what makes me a little mad about this, I think if they would have done this a few months before Mania, and let's say it was Cesaro with Paul Heyman taking on Undertaker, nobody would have been pissed.
I would have actually. That would have been a good one. Cesaro enters the streak. That would have been a good one. That would have definitely been a good one.
Hey, Ryan, you really think Brock Lesnar doesn't have any talent?
I think that, honestly, people give Brock Lesnar way too much damn credit. They're pretty much still comparing him to his days when he was this big college standout, and when he was younger, it actually looked like he could actually do something big. But in all honesty, that damn title reign that he pretty much had to be was pretty much overshadowed by the very many faces of the men that pretty much he was fighting. The Undertaker, The Rock, Big Show, Kurt Angle. I mean, you're talking about 4 guys that pretty much have been up and down the block a lot, and still took this young took this young stud to the woodshed. And even when Brock came back after all that was said and done, he really wasn't as intimidating or as dangerous as he has been in recent memory. I don't think I think younger Brock had talent, but I think the Brock of now doesn't really have much of anything.
Right, because I'm like, well, you can't. Like, the Brock Lesnar of old, like, without those vets, like you just mentioned, like The Rock, like, you know, a Big Show, Kurt Angle, and all the guys he wrestled, even the Undertaker, like, without those guys, like, Brock doesn't get over babyface or heel.
Well,
so Brock, in essence, he needed, like, especially with you being the young guy coming in and Vince putting so much pressure on you, like, because right out of the gate, they dubbed him the next big thing. So it was either sink or swim off top. He had no room to fail. Like, he couldn't take a play off. Like, he couldn't say, okay, well, if I slip up here, we'll be all right because I got another 6 months. Like, he had to swim in shark-infested waters right off top because they dubbed him the next big thing, his first thing to come.
And Brock Lesnar back then, bona fide, took that ball and ran with it and was quite impressive with it. If you get Brock, I think Brock pretty much has that same position as John Cena. You give him somebody that he actually has to wrestle with, and, you know, he'll sell that product. He will market that product. He will literally deliver deliver on it. Bona fide, bottom line truth. The difference between him and Cena is that he pretty much had that pressure on him pretty much from start to finish. John Cena had to build himself up to either basically be loved or be hated. But Brock, on the other hand, has always been right there at that happy medium where he'll do things that pretty much not many super massive heavyweights would do. And for a guy that's pretty much almost 300 pounds when he's younger, to go from a 300-pound monster to whatever the hell you want to call him now, this 295-pound stomach churner, it's almost like an insult now to pretty much compare any of the actual superstars who have wrestling talent to Brock Lesnar now. Compare him to back then, hell yeah, that would be like a great matchup. But compare him to now, it's too easy.
Well, now that we're done with Lesnar, hopefully for the night, Captain Ron, I know you've been thinking about a very, very good fire show question. Something that had to do with a little word that starts with the letter R, I hear.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. And this actually was kind of lingering through the week as I've, listened to all the WCC shows on WCC.com and Facebook.com/Wrestling Commentary Central. I've actually sat here and I've been thinking about this all day, mainly because of everything that's been going on and pretty much everybody's wrestling lives. And hearing that Brock Lesnar, and yeah, I'm bringing Brock back in this just for this specific reason, hearing him actually mouth the words "thank you" to the Undertaker following the streak breaker at WrestleMania, and then for him not to come out and completely gloat and let Paul Heyman just do all the gloating for him, it kind of brought to my attention the word respect. Something that pretty much is not thrown around a lot. I mean, if you think about how WrestleMania ended with this kind of deja vu moment of a great mat technician such as Daniel Bryan making a big, bad behemoth and Batista tap out almost like WrestleMania 20 all over again, it kind of brought to the attention of respect. And with Ultimate Warrior obviously getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, again, the respect. So I guess my question here, has respect finally returned to to the world of professional wrestling, not just to its fan base, but to its superstars? Has it finally gotten to the point now where you can actually say the words respect and not actually say it in a mean way or while busting up a gut laughing?
I think it has. That's a hard bio sell.
Yeah.
There's respect to it, tons to business.
Well, I think sometimes I don't know if I can say by yourself for each, for sure for what it'll be forever. I don't know how long it'll last. But I think for right now, I have to buy it. Because the thing about respect is it seems to come and go, as you see in WWE. But right now, I can definitely feel legitimate respect.
I don't think it's ever really left. I think it's just it takes that certain moment or that certain level that you have to pull respect out of certain people. And it's like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. For everything that they've ever been through, to the personal wars of them not really liking each other, you can't say that The Undertaker has never respected what Brock Lesnar did for the company or for the impact that he made his first go around in WWE. And it takes a lot when you got The Undertaker's respect.
Yes, it does.
And I think, and when Brock first came in, he was young. What, he was 23, 24? So, you take a 24-year-old who thinks he knows everything because you're pushing him to the top so fast, you don't really got a learning process. You don't pay no dues. You were main event off top. So, you could really expect a lot from a young guy. So I think a more mature Brock, he kind of sat back and embraced the moment. It was like, damn, I'm the one. There was 21 before me, and now I'm the one. That deserves a thank you.
Mm-hmm. This one's hard for me just because. Now, Catherine, I got to ask this question before I make my decision. Are we also counting the fans in this as well? Or are we just counting the wrestlers in the back?
Are we counting the fans as far as what, Derek?
Are we counting the fans? Because if the fans are getting put into this, is respect back? Do the fans have respect? And I got to say it's both buy and sell. Because if the respect is from the wrestlers, let's remember, there's a lot of fans who will not respect certain wrestlers because of whatever their reason is, because dirt sheets or in some cases, and I'll use the prime example here. I posted something about the Bullet Club, and somebody said, those wrestlers don't, somebody messaged me, those wrestlers don't deserve respect because they don't wrestle in America. So, if it's the wrestlers, I buy, but if it's the fans, I got to sell, because most fans, they probably wouldn't give a shit.
I think when you talk about the fans' respect level, I think you got to talk about you got to split your fans up. You got to split the fans up. You got to look at your old school, legit, traditional, hardcore wrestling fans, and then you got to look at the new era of wrestling fans that we have, who are a lot younger than us.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, because a younger fan base, and I'm going to say the younger fan base is between that age of 10 and 20. Now, of course, and I know, Kayla, you're a little bit older than most of the young ones, which luckily you haven't. You do your research, you watch the old stuff, but I feel like the younger crowd, they don't show the same respect because they don't want to go back and look at the past, look at the history to see, well, guys like Lesnar came from, or is Lesnar back in the old days was great, or, want to remember Chris Benoit or anything. But, this one's kind of hard for me, so
when
Doug, I really don't want to sound like an asshole, but, you are completely right. When it comes down to it, age is everything if you're talking about fans and respect. I'm really sorry about this generation. I really am. But half the people, I don't know, I feel like they judge without even, doing the proper research or trying to figure out where these guys, the people that come in, the Hall of Famers, anyone who's been there in the past that's either just returning and all that stuff, they're not giving them the proper attention, and they're just kind of judging without even, having a look through the glass. And honestly, to me, that is one of the biggest disrespects that I think you could ever do. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry for being an ass. I'm just being truthful. There you go.
But I do think in hindsight that when the younger fan generation, when they hit our age, they'll have that respect that they didn't have as younger, because like you gotta watch somebody, like when you grow up, you gotta have somebody to watch as you grow up. Like by the time I caught on to Ric Flair was already in his damn near 10th title reign. Like I had to do my research on the prior 9. Like, this generation has gotten to watch John Cena from when he first started through all 14 title runs. So it's like you got to see the evolution of John Cena. You got to see the evolution of a Randy Orton or of a Triple H. So it's like that respect that they should have for the older legends, they'll have respect for, those guys. Like, the Stone Colds, the Rocks, the Triple H's, the John Cena's, because they got to watch their career unfold as to opposed to being born into some shit and they were already had a career.
And it's not even just that. It's just that if you happen to be, a parent who happens to have, who has kids who pretty much asks these questions. This is the one props I give to like most parents who pretty much don't shield their kids from wrestling, because we all remember the old school days of hardcore wrestling and ECW and all that stuff, and most of these younger generations don't really know about that about ECW, not the ECW that pretty much WWE tried to basically butcher and sodomize like there was no fucking tomorrow, but the ECW
by Paul Heyman.
The one that's actually ran by Paul motherfucking Heyman, and that's the one props I give for like most of them, is that most parents actually sit here and just they had that respect for that old school because they grew up with them. I remember when Hulk Hogan actually had hair. I remember the first time I actually saw the Ultimate Warrior in a match when Honky Tonk Man sideburns were actually legitimate and weren't just for men. I remember when Undertaker was Taker's original name, his debut, the matches against Superfly Jimmy Snuka and Jake the Snake Roberts, when Macho Man actually had hair on his head, when Ric Flair actually did not honestly look like Estelle Getty from the fucking Golden Girls. I remember this shit because I grew up with it. So having to be able to actually teach my son this when he asks these questions about all these old school guys, it's whether I liked them or I hated them, I respect them enough to sit here and actually tell them about them and say, this is what this guy did, and this is what he's famous for, and this is why everybody knows him, and why sometimes they cheer him, sometimes they boo him, is because, well, he's the dirtiest player in the game, or the toughest SOB on the planet, or he's the people's champion, or he's Big Daddy Cool, or he's the bad guy. I mean, that right there, back then, it wasn't a respect thing, because pretty much when you're a kid growing up from the business for we're watching 3 decades of this business evolve, it's a big damn deal. But now, some of these kids are just missing out because they're just coming into the era of John Cena and Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan and hell, in all fairness, even the new Kane or the Brock Lesnar's. Is like they're coming into that one, so they don't have any idea about all the guys from before them and why those guys are there. Most of those guys are there because they had respect for those legends and those Hall of Famers that pretty much paved that way for them to basically go in there, either raise hell and put on one hell of a show, or flat out suck and have those fans literally sit here and just, in their own special way, give that form of respect or disrespect.
Well, that's why I'd like to thank you for a good BioCell question. And Kara, I believe you're the last one for the BioCell this week.
Ah, geez, you guys make mine sound less awesome. I don't know. Anyway, My buy or sell question for this week is, with Paige becoming the new Divas champion, will it help with the Divas division?
Yes.
Not at
yes.
all. Not at
I
all.
will actually buy this one because I think that you're basically implying that, as good as some of the ones who's been there and has been in WWE for a while, that they're embracing that whole change is good kind of mantra. I mean, obviously, having Randy Orton drop that title to Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania was a big deal, but having Paige, having an NXT rookie come up out of nowhere in her first televised match and actually win that title and beat the woman who pretty much has dominated that division, who has made even Natalya, and I know this is probably going to piss Sarah off, but even make Natalya tap out, who is a submission specialist. I mean, everybody thought AJ was a one-trick pony when she came in, and she evolved right before our very eyes. But to watch Paige be one of those that literally can show what she's got, and literally nobody outside of the NXT circuit, and the NXT circle for that matter, knows who Paige was or what she was capable of. They all pretty much probably didn't go on the concept that, hey, you know what, we shouldn't cheer for this girl because she's probably going to end up sitting here being a lamb led to the slaughter, and look what happens. Now all of a sudden everybody's all pro-Paige.
Yeah, I'm buying, so.
That's no secret.
I do not buy this.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Now I'm intrigued.
I'm not. It's not that Paige doesn't have ability. Paige is a phenomenal wrestler, but anybody who sits there and watches NXT via Hulu, WWE Network, your computer, YouTube, Paige is phenomenal. And so are the rest of the divas down at NXT. And the reason why I can't buy this is because we've seen this all before. Somebody comes in, makes an impact with the power to invoke change and make WWE get on the ball and start really flipping shit. And what do? They don't do it. And especially with a Divas division that you haven't cared about since God knows when. In my opinion, before AJ, the last legitimate Divas champion was probably Michelle McCool and Beth Phoenix.
True.
So it's like, and Michelle left. Michelle was out of the title picture by like 2010. So it's like, you've had this gap, and you get AJ. AJ becomes, one of the longest reigning Divas champions. She's dominant, but it's like you don't do nothing with this division. So it's like I can't care that Paige is here when she's walking into a situation that nobody else cares about. Like, how many times do we hear the story Stephanie McMahon wanted to revamp the Divas division? That was the point of her bringing Karma in. Okay. So you had a bad rep with Karma. Karma gets pregnant. Karma wants to go home, and she leaves. So you just say, well, since the Karma idea didn't work, fuck it. I don't care no more. And that's what happened. Karma leaves. Nobody cares about the Divas division again. Kelly's running around with the belt. What does that mean?
They let hoes get the titles too.
So I can't.
That's been proven in more than one company, no less.
I can't buy it. I will have to wait, and I could be wrong, but I can't buy it.
Okay.
To each their own.
So that has nothing to do with the fact that Naomi didn't hoist up that title at WrestleMania, right?
Nothing to do with the fact, because as much as I want Naomi to win, she'll be in the same position. You have a boatload of talent, and they're not going to do nothing with it. They're not going to showcase you. Like, you remember when Lita and Trish main evented on Raw?
No.
Lita and Trish, last match on Raw, women's title on the line. That's how hot the women's division used to be. You may never see that again.
So can this be considered one of those?
You mean when it was Tits versus Tits? Okay, because that's all I remember of Trish and Lita. Yes, I'm an asshole.
Yes, you're an asshole.
I mean, and here's another thing. Like, if you watch the Divas on NXT and then you watch the Divas on the main roster, they got to loosen up them chains. Like, you got to not let it always be about entertainment, because those Divas down there can wrestle. Paula can go. Sasha Banks can go. Ric Flair's daughter got go. Like, don't let them showcase all this talent down here where nobody really cares. Not saying that nobody watches NXT, but, like, they showcase all this talent to you to make it to the main roster, and then it's like a slap in the face when they get here because you're not going to let them wrestle. Because you want them to be divas. You don't want them to be women's wrestlers. You want them to be divas. You want them to
be pretty and beautiful and be good eye candy, but you don't want them to actually sit here and show that, hey, they can scrap just as good as the guys can.
Right. That's my whole point. Like, if you're going to let them go, let them go.
And, you know, eventually, though, I mean, WWE hasn't always been good at it, but they were better at it before, and maybe, I mean, this could just be the person that's just wishful thinking, that maybe they would finally give legit talent a chance to show what they've got. So, does anyone else got to choose before I do?
Like, if you ask me, AJ, not saying AJ's not good, but Tamina should be the dominant head as a diva.
All right, is there anyone left?
No, I do believe it's on you now.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes him the only one to sell because I am buying my own question. I mean, I admit I was never a complete active NXT watcher, but I mean, I have at least seen Paige, and I know what talent that she's got, so I'm just glad that they bring her up, and now that we have a new champion, obviously when you get new champions, it's going to bring more attention to the division, at least for a little bit. And the fans, there are a lot of fans that love Paige. So I think that it's going to help build at least more attention to it, because so many more fans will be more into the Divas division than it previously was before. And yeah, it's kind of sad. You see all that talent hanging in the back that hasn't had the chance. But I mean, this could be, I mean, wishful thinking again, but this could be one of those things that just ignites that chance for people to show what they've got.
Interesting. Time to go to the main event, I guess, right, Kara?
Yeah.
All right. Now, of course, by the way, the main event is not on IO anymore. You can pretty much only watch it on Hulu and the WWE Network. Just to get to
and it's live every Tuesday now, bud. Don't forget that. It's live every Tuesday.
Yeah, it is live on Tuesdays. Normally, I recap this. I would go over each match in better detail, but because we do have the big thing what Ron wants to bring up, and of course you have Ring of Honor to get to, this is just going to be a quick recap. The Shield defeated the Wyatt family, what has to be considered for match of the year, because it was probably one of the best matches on the main event. Shield would win the match. Jack Swagger would make Dolph Ziggler tap out, which was, again, a good match. And then, of course, Alexander Kuslov, or whatever his fucking name is. Alexander defeated... Oh.
Come on!
What?
I don't think he's in the same arena as we are.
Oh, he's not a porter.
Oh, okay. Anyway, that was the main event this week. Sorry I'd like to go in more detail, but we have other things to get to that are more important than the main event this week. Captain Ron. Now, I believe the Ultimate Warrior was on a Sonic, well, he was brought up on a Sonic show this past week.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I have to put on the black robe one more time. Hear ye, dumbasses and fuckholes. Court is once again back in session after 7 years. Captain Ron versus probably the biggest, loudest, most annoying, obnoxious blob on national TV since, well, that last guy who held the WCC World Heavyweight Championship. But in any event, this past week, obviously, in case anybody's been under a rock for about the past, 96 hours, we lost one of the greatest of all time, the Ultimate Warrior, who did appear on Monday Night Raw, almost in an ominous form, passed away pretty much the very next day as he returned home from his stint in New Orleans. Now, we figured that would be the end of the story, but unfortunately, somebody decided to pass the message on to the pissy cow of California, who has made it her business to pretty much piss off everyone in the world of professional wrestling, not just the wrestlers, but the fans alike. 7 years ago, this is the same stupid bitch who actually had the balls to take a story in regards to a former WWE, WCW superstar in the name of Chris Benoit. Yes, I said it. Go fuck yourself if you don't like it. And literally bring up the praise of steroids and drug abuse and blah, blah, blah. Who fucking cares? Unfortunately, that was 7 years ago. And 7 years ago, I owned this stupid little cunt then, and tonight's not going to be any different, except for one thing. We don't know exactly what happened in regards to the Ultimate Warrior's past, and we don't know exactly how he died. We don't know if it was because of everything that he put his body through over the past few years or if it was something more. We don't know, and there are some wrestling fans who are saying, we don't fucking care. We're going to still respect the man because that's what it's all about. However, Nancy Grace decided to take upon herself on her show to bring on Diamond Dallas Page, who we all know is the man responsible for the turnaround of Jake the Snake Roberts' life. And pretty much look Diamond Dallas Page straight in the eye and tell him that she believes that he, as well as several other passed-on WWE and professional wrestling superstars, including the legendary Owen Hart, were all apparently abusing drugs and were on steroids, and that is the reason why they died. Now, if you haven't been paying much attention to the wrestling circuits as of late, everybody's chimed in on this, including myself, and I pretty much have to sit here and lay it flat out, and I probably won't even be doing it justice, so I'm going to have some backup with me for this one. Nancy Grace, you stupid fucking cunt, you really don't realize what it's actually like to be a wrestling fan because you never liked wrestling. You openly admitted that you never have watched a single wrestling match in your life, yet you take it upon yourself to think that the passing of the Ultimate Warrior is a good time to boost your ratings by using the words steroids and drug abuse rather than talking about a kid who apparently just felt like taking a knife into a high school, some suburb of Pittsburgh, and decided to go on a stabbing spree at the exact same time. So apparently your priorities are just as fucked up as, well, the Denver Broncos offense, which is pretty tragic in itself. I literally called you out on this, and you invited me onto your show 7 years ago, and I literally told you that I would rather teabag Madonna than be on your fucking show. Now I don't feel that same way. I don't want to teabag Madonna. I'd rather get teabagged by Dennis Rodman than even make an appearance on your show because I'm pretty sure that show that'll be the last episode you ever do of your show, and then I would be the host of it. You don't know anything about wrestling. So please, leave it to the professionals, leave it to the fans, leave it to the wrestlers, leave it to the people who actually have done it, lived it, or been a part of it. For you to sit here and disrespect Owen Hart is probably the ultimate slap in the face of all time, and that's even worse than bringing on Conan and Mark Marrow to talk about anything wrestling-related. Nancy Grace, I feel so bad for you and feel bad for the children that you actually bore into this world because I'm pretty sure that come Monday morning when they go back to school or to their little daycare, that they're probably going to get their asses kicked by some little kid who's going to be walking up there saying, you can't see me and feel the power of the warrior. As much as one of my colleagues despises the Ultimate Warrior for his own reasons, he still respects the man and what he did. So I actually admire him for being truthful and honest. But the last thing he's going to do is take two of the greatest legends in the history of the sport and straight up call them steroid pill-popping junkies and then not expect a backlash. So, yes, to the Hart family, I can't apologize for what Nancy Grace said. The only thing I can tell you to do is please, by all means, book a flight to Nancy Grace's show. Don't even answer a question from her. Just jump over the desk, choke her like a fucking Smurf, peel off that toupee that she calls hair, and reveal by the graces of God that she truly is deep down inside a heartless, cold, conniving, manipulative cow who pretty much has to go home at night, cry and masturbate with her own lubricant, and realize that the world doesn't love her and that she is easily replaceable. Kara, after you.
There is nothing else that pisses me off more than people who talk smack about wrestling when they don't know jack shit. And, you know, even if you don't watch wrestling, you should be more respectful. I mean, seriously, whoever this fucking bitch is, I don't even watch her shit. I just know that this happened, and I want to rip her throat out, and I don't care if I get arrested for it. I will gladly do it, because literally when you sit there and you bash a few of the greatest superstars to ever exist in the wrestling world, and you think you can just get away with it? Ha! Bitch, you're going to have a whole fucking army against you. You're going to have every wrestling fan that's ever watched WWE, WCW, anything. You're going to have them all against you. And you know why? It's because you're seeing some dumb cunt. Wow, I said cunt. So, and I mean, I'm not a fan of the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, but at the same time, I at least have respect for him. I think he didn't have a lot of talent. He did the one thing that, you know, there are some people that can't do. He entertained the fans. And you know what? That there gains my ultimate respect. And then you're just sitting there bashing someone and accusing them of doing drugs. Yes, you know, there are wrestlers, there are anyone who will do steroids and drugs, but don't assume that that's always some leading cause of their death. That's just you being some idiot that's trying to come up with some bullshit reason to bitch about someone or call someone out and call them names.
Well.
And for the record, now that I'm pretty much just got it all out of my system, I think I was a little too nice about it. So I'm just going to tell Madam Cunnilingus, please, in the words of Chris Jericho, one of the almighty pipe bomb layers in history, would you just please shut the hell mother of fuck up?
Now,
thank you.
I believe there was somebody else who's in here with us. I'm sure he wants to say something.
Oh, wait, what are we talking about?
Oh,
Nancy Grace pretty much taking the Ultimate Warrior and Owen Hart's death and saying that it was steroid and drug-related, calling them pill-popping, steroid-induced junkies.
Okay, now, as much as Nancy Grace was wrong and very politically incorrect for her statements, on the other side of the coin, like, as much as you want to be mad at her, like, when you look at the history of the WWE, it didn't, not even WWE, just wrestling in general, that's what they get identified with, because everybody is so larger than life. It's like, well, how did you get this big? And when you open the curtain, there was always somebody was on steroids. So even those who weren't never doing steroids always got stuck in that category of, well, if he's popping pills, you got to be doing it too, just because that was the nature of the boys' club that was wrestling. So it's like, and then when you take somebody who doesn't even watch wrestling and you ask them their opinion, they're going to go off of what the media does to wrestling. And then the first person that they always get for interview shows, they always get people who've got bad reps with WWE or who's got a gripe with the whole industry in general. Like, when the first person you interview is Mark Mara, he doesn't even like WWE anymore. He hates Vince McMahon. You don't ask him any questions. You really don't ask Conan nothing. He's mad about everything. So, like, I don't fault her for her stupid opinion because it is her opinion. But, you know, that's the nature of the situation when you ask people who aren't in the wrestling circle or don't love it like we do or don't even watch it. That's what they're going to say because Vince McMahon was on trial for steroids and it was nationwide. I mean, it was worldwide. Just the fact that the owner of the WWF at that time could have went to jail because of steroids. So that's always going to be synonymous with wrestling. It doesn't matter if you're an indie guy, you're a TNA guy, you're a Ring of Honor guy. You're always, somebody is going to ask you, if you have a better than great physique, they're going to ask you, did you do steroids? Have you ever done steroids? That's just, it's never going to go away. Steroids will always be the black eye of professional wrestling. So when people make stupid opinions like that, it's like, yeah, it was dumb and it was disrespectful, especially to Owen Hart because we saw how he died on live TV. There was no fucking drugs involved in that. The nigga fell from the ceiling.
It was just him being a risk taker is what it is. You don't blame that shit on drugs.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's what I'm saying. But, like, when you know, it's just ignorant people who, you know, like, when you don't know something or you don't understand it, of course you're going to say something stupid about it because you want to feel like you're right. And that's with anything. I've met people who don't understand a lot of things and they make stupid remarks about it. Just like how people don't understand gay and lesbians. They make stupid remarks or they try to be hurtful toward them because they don't understand their lifestyle. Just like with religion, when you don't understand something, your first thing is to either say something disrespectful about it or to try to make fun of it because you don't want to feel like an idiot because you're not big enough to admit that you just don't understand the culture or you don't understand the phenomenon of what it is that we love about professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm. All right, my turn on this before we jump to the next thing. Yeah, I didn't find out about this till yesterday because, yeah, I don't even know who the bitch is. It's probably some stupid news person, and to be honest, the only news I watch is on ESPN. So if it's on ESPN, yeah, I probably don't watch. Now, what she said when I watched the video, it did hurt me because everyone knows I'm an Owen Hart guy. That made me want to jump to the computer, but I'll let Bret Hart's family deal with that because I'm sure they'll probably sue the bitch. Now, what she said about Warrior, Captain Ron, you and me talked about this yesterday. I was having a hard time explaining why, to a certain extent, she was wrong, and maybe, which I don't think she was right, but I think he was clean when he died. And I kind of put this with Eddie's, because, anybody who's read Eddie's book or knows anything about Eddie's past, he was on drugs. To me, I think Warrior would have surprised anyone back in the 80s when, like our gentleman just said, it was rampant in the 80s. I mean, look at the Legion of Doom DVD. Even Michael Hayes said it. It was, back in the 80s, you could get anything you wanted in the sport. It wasn't funny. But I'm hoping, and I hope to God, Warrior was clean. Because if he was, which I think he was, I'm going to make a guarantee he was clean when he died. It would just show how stupid she is. But people, I just want to say this as a cautionary tale for anyone who is on steroids or any drugs for that matter. Learn from the deaths of these men who have died because of the past usage. If you don't stop now, you will be in no position. Even if you get clean, even if you stop 3 years from now, you'll be in the same boot. You'll be in the same thing they were. And while, yes, I'm not a Warrior fan, I think the biggest thing, and this is what she didn't say, which makes me more mad more than anything, Warrior, yeah, he may have left. He may have left fans, but the most important thing, and this is what's sad, he left a wife and 2 children behind. So what that bitch did, that makes me feel more angry because didn't even say anything about his family that he had to leave behind for. So that, I say fuck you.
Anybody else?
Now that we're done with the sadness and the anger, let's
Court's
jump
adjourned.
Let's jump to TNA for a few seconds before we jump to SmackDown. We have a new TNA heavyweight champion, Eric Young. So
It's Daniel Bryan's doppelganger.
I was going to say Duck Dynasty's doppelganger.
That's what I missed.
Yeah, Eric Young won the belt. Just in case anybody wonders, he won a 10-man gauntlet at the start of the show. Instead of waiting till sacrifice, he wanted to challenge that night. He won the match. So congratulations to Eric Young on becoming the new TNA heavyweight champion. I must say, it's something that should have happened a long time ago.
Amen to that shit.
You know what, though? TNA has a bad rap for doing this. Like, if you pay attention, like, you remember when Austin Aries cashed in the X Division title and he beat Beirut? Anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Who were the two champions in the opposite company? Yeah, you know, Daniel Bryan and CM Punk were Daniel Bryan was the World Heavyweight Champ, and CM Punk was the WWE Champ, all at the same time, and then, miraculously, another Ring of Honor guy takes a title. And not just a title, main title. You know, I think right, so it's like the ultimate underdog wins at the biggest show of the year, and he wrestled twice in one night. TNA just couldn't resist. They had to do it. And then to take it and put it on a guy like Eric Young, you were automatically going to get the cheers because Eric Young has been a TNA faithful for 10 years. He's a TNA original. He's one of the last guys who's been on the roster that's been there since damn near the start of the company.
Yeah, so I will say, though, the only thing I didn't like about it was, and Captain One disagrees with me on this, I didn't like the fact it was done on free television where all you really may have wanted is a few rating spikes.
Whoa, Douglas, what are you thinking? Do you remember those pictures from about, lockdown that were pretty much showing up all over the Internet? Remember those pictures? Remember how empty the place was? Compare that pay-per-view picture from TNA lockdown of this past year, of literally a few weeks ago, to the picture of, let's say, a Elimination Chamber. Who do you think had a more packed arena? Think about that one. Do it on live TV. Get your ratings up, so at least that way you have some way of competing with WWE, who just literally just is still suffering from the WrestleMania hangover.
Hey, honestly, Doug, I think you will agree with me on this one. We may not agree on a lot, but honestly, I think you'll agree. Magnus couldn't sell a fucking ticket to some Boy Scouts. Like, Magnus is not a draw, and we all know this. Like, he's a good athlete. He's credible. You know, he deserves where he is. It's just the fact that he can't draw.
Well, pretty much hasn't been able to unless you put him in something that's worth coming to.
Right. You've got to put him in some kind of match with a stipulation, or you've got to put him in there with a legit guy, like a Samoa Joe, maybe an AJ Styles, a Bobby Roode. Like, he's got to be in there with a big name, like a thing, but Magnus can't draw.
Well, believe it or not, I'm going to agree with you to a certain extent because I do love Magnus, and I will agree, he wasn't a great champion, but I don't think it was because he couldn't draw. I think it was because, let's remember how he won it. He really didn't win it in a way that you could be proud of. He was pretty much handed the belt because AJ was leaving. If AJ didn't leave and it was legit, maybe Magnus could have stolen.
Well, when you're playing a heel, that you pretty much have to have that kind of stuff.
I was just going there. Like, if you're going to be the top heel, you need that kind of heat. And especially when you beat Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and Sting, and Samoa Joe, and during your title reign, you pretty much need that heat more than ever. Right. I'm not like the heat was good. He got handed the title on a silver platter. That's the kind of heat you want. Like, oh my God, he's not a real champion. He's not legit. That's the kind of heat you want as a heel. But still remaining, like, when you are the champion, you are the top guy, you are responsible for filling the house. Now, I won't blame Lockdown on him completely because he wasn't the main event. The main event was Lethal Lockdown, and I would expect MVP to be from Miami to sell out a building.
Yeah.
Right.
You are from Miami. You're supposed to be the hometown boy. You're supposed to get love. They're supposed to want to come see you.
Well, you know, everybody in Miami was at the ball watching the Miami Heat play, but that's another story for another time.
And that could be true.
Next week, we probably cover TNA again. Miss Kara, what was the main event for SmackDown tonight? I believe it involved the Yesos, which is Yes and Usos.
The Yesos?
Yes, I'm drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an
unfortunately, the main event was probably the only thing good about the show. So they managed to have a good Raw and a very shitty SmackDown as usual.
Like always.
Yes, it was Daniel Bryan and the Usos taking on Randy Orton, Batista, and Kane. Basically,
the Three Stooges.
Authority. Yeah, the Stooges of the Authority. Ultimately, I mean, it was an okay match, but it ended in a no contest. Or at least they didn't announce anything, so I'm assuming it's a no contest. There's a lot of shenanigans. I'm sorry. I didn't write a lot about this match because I really didn't care for the details.
Why don't you just go ahead and just...
I remember that the Shield comes out to help Daniel Bryan as Kane is attacking Daniel Bryan. And then they help the Usos, and then Daniel Bryan helps the Shield from Kane attacking them, and then they celebrate in the ring, and that's about it.
Yay. By the way, I didn't watch...
See how boring that sounds?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch SmackDown. I read the spoilers because, yeah, I was out at the bowling alley tonight. So, yeah, just imagine me drunk and bowling. Ain't that a fun
Bottom line was that pretty much it wasn't about the match. It was about the ending. When it came down to it, the SmackDown ended the same way Raw ended. Daniel Bryan on the exact same post, same corner, no less, and the Shield in the exact same spot, looking over the Authority, who still have yet to find a way to silence the Yes movement, and now have found themselves a new enemy in the form of the most dominant triple threat tag team, I believe, in this era of WWE. Sister Freebirds, yes.
Ooh.
The Shield flat out. When the Shield's with you, it's a great thing. But when the Shield's against you, be afraid, especially when they're all on the same page.
The Shield has to be the greatest three-man team since the Freebirds, and I know that may be a bold statement, but I'm banking on it.
But it's a true statement. I mean, there hasn't really been a dominant team that's literally spent an entire year on top and hasn't won a world title in that fairness. And the fact is that you think about the Fabulous Freebirds and that old school, they had the flair, they had the glitz, they had the glamour, and they knew how to bring it. What do you have now? Fast forward many, many moons later, believe in the Freebirds, believe in the resurrection of the Freebirds in the form of the Shield.
Wait, I thought if anything, the Freebirds were like, no, I'm not going to say it because I know I'm going to get people pissed off, and I'm going to be nice tonight. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. And anybody who knows me knows what I was going to say. Anyway, so, okay, everyone, say bye to WWE, because guess where we're going?
ROH.
We're heading to Ring of Honor. That is right. Now, last Friday, they had their pay-per-view, Supercard of Honor. And just as a quick recap before we get to some of the big news that broke during last week and this week, the Supercard of Honor went like this. Roderick Strong defeated Cedric Alexander. The Decade's BJ Winner, Jimmy Jacobs, and Adam Page defeated Andrew Everett and Adrenaline Rush. Tweet Martini pretty much kicks Matt Taven in the balls, then set him on fire backstage. Ain't that nice? We had a barbecue. How do you like your chestnuts? Over an open fire or just toasted? Oh, that made somebody leave. I apologize. Artie Evans with Zelda Scott defeated Silas Young via disqualification, so Eddie Evans is still undefeated. He has not lost a match this year. Michael Burnett defeated Mark Briscoe in a no-DQ match. Yay. Matt Hardy then came out and beat the fuck out of a cheeseburger. Yes, there was a wrestler named Cheeseburger.
I thought you were actually talking about he was actually going to eat something.
No, there's actually a wrestler called Cheeseburger, unfortunately. He then talked about how well the promotion has been doing since Adam Cole was champion. After that, Red Dragon became the number one contenders to face the Young Bucks at War Awards after they defeated the Forever Hooligans in Hanson/Rowe. And then, the biggest shocker of the night, Jay Lethal not only walked out as television champion, but he's doing something he has never done in his career, to my knowledge. Jay Lethal is now a heel, as he teamed up with Truth Martini, as Martini helped him win the belt, and is now a member of the House of Truth. So, can Jay Lethal work as a face?
Wow, I can tell you, I totally didn't see a heel turn coming, but mad props to a heel turn.
Hey, if anybody can pull it off, it's indeed Jay Lethal. He has the skills to do it. He's just always had, it's always just about that gimmick. I mean, it would work for him.
Hopefully it works. That's like Jay Lethal. By the way, he is the television champion. This is, I believe, his second reign as champion. After that, Michael Elgin defeated Kevin Steen, so Michael Elgin will get a shot at the New Japan, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at War Awards. And then in the main event, Adam Cole defeated Jay Briscoe in Ladder War number 5 to become the undisputed Ring of Honor World Champion. So Adam Cole is still your champion. Now,
how do you like Adam Cole as the world champion over there, Doug? I know you're an avid Ring of Honor guy. You know, you watch it a lot.
Yes, Adam Cole he's a pretty good, decent champion. I mean, he's kind of, how can I say this? He kind of reminds me of a heelish Dean Malenko. I mean, he likes to wear you out with submission moves. I mean, one of his two main finishers is a figure four-lock. He also does a German suplex as a finisher as well. But Adam Cole also has the governor. He will pretty much tell you, yeah, I'm going to beat you. And he's one of those few guys who's small enough that you can still believe he's going to beat you. And, by the way, it also helps that he has Matt Hardy, Michael Burnett in his corner as well. So, yeah, he's got help.
Wow,
basically they're all screwed.
Yeah, pretty much Adam Cole, this is a guy who, and this is why I love him as champion, he doesn't come out wearing, blue jeans or, and tights when he comes out when he's not wrestling. He'll come out in a nice suit and tie, kind of like the old days of champions, when they came out dressed nice. Granted, Magnus, on Thursday, you didn't look nice in that outfit. You looked like a freaking retard, but that's another story. But Adam Cole is a good Ring of Honor champion. He's probably not one of the better ones. He's probably the best one they've had in the last few years. Now, some big news that came out last week. We have all heard of New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? Taylor, just shake your head, yes.
Yep.
And we all heard of AJ Styles. Well, he made a shocking appearance at the IPPV Invasion Attack for New Japan, and has now joined New Japan as well, and is now the new leader of the Bullet Club. And I'm sure a lot of us who watch the Indies know who that is. So Styles now leads the pack that includes the Ring of Honor and IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, and Machine Gun Kyle Anderson. And by the way, all the members of the Bullet Club will be at the ROH New Japan event, Global Wars, and War Awards in Toronto and New York on May 10th and May 17th. But before we get to that, Nigel McGuinness announced that on April 19th at Second to None in Baltimore, Maryland, AJ Styles and Michael Elgin will face off once again. This time, the winner will receive a shot at the Ring of Honor Championship. So AJ could win the Ring of Honor World title. We shall see. By the way, there must be a winner in that match. Speaking of Second to None, there have been more matches added. Now, of course, something that has not been seen in a long time is returning to Ring of Honor, Defy or Deny. And if you don't know what that is, because if you're new to Ring of Honor or anything, that pretty much is this. If you beat the champion, you get a title shot. But if you lose, you cannot get a title shot as long as that person is champion. So let's say if I was champion and I beat Captain Ron could never get a shot at the title as long as I'm the world champion. Keep that in mind.
That never stopped me from a bar fight before.
It would be Adam Cole taking on Mark Briscoe, Matt Taven, and Jimmy Jacobs in a fatal 4-way elimination match. Like I just said, if Briscoe, Taven, or Jacobs win in Baltimore, they would get a title shot. But if all three lose, they cannot get a title shot as long as Adam Cole is your heavyweight champion. So, with that being said, did Adam Cole knock out 3 contenders in one night, or can Briscoe, Taven, or Jacobs get one more shot at the belt?
One more match.
Speaking of matches, Jay Briscoe would take on Michael Burnett at the same card. Red Dragon would take on Cedric Alexander and Andrew Everett. BJ Whitmer and Adam Page would take on Hanson and Rowe, who, as of 3 hours ago, just signed a contract with Ring of Honor. By the way, if you don't know who Hanson and Rowe are, they are pretty much 2 guys who remind me of Scott Norton. They will beat the fuck out of you. And now, how could I forget this? The main event of that show, which is a Charm City street fight, will be Kevin Steen and Cliff Clampton, who we all remember from the Deuce and Domino days, will be taking on Outlaw Inc., Homicide and Eddie Kingston, better known as L's Brothers.
I'll actually watch just to watch Kevin Steen get kicked in the head.
Yeah, so that is pretty much your Ring of Honor news, and like I said, because I know Kale and Ketron hold this, and the one who was not did not, Jay Lethal is now a heel.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, Jay Lethal is a heel?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not buying that shit.
He joined not Matt Taven, Truth Martini's House of Truth last week.
Okay, never mind. Now I can buy it.
There you go.
Yeah, and by the way, all this weekend, all those shows for Ring of Honor next week will all be dedicated to the Ultimate Warrior, as they are showing respect to him this week as well. But before we go, I'm staying on Ring of Honor, how do you guys feel about AJ Styles becoming the new leader of the Bullet Club?
Well, I mean, I honestly don't watch a lot of that. I don't even know who the Bullet Club is, but hey, I know the Young Bucks and I know him, so hooray.
Yeah, just for everyone who doesn't know what the Bullet Club is aces and eights, but not as retarded. This is the big super group over in Japan that's pretty much been running roughshod in New Japan the last few years. But anyway, AJ Styles could become Ring of Honor World Champion. Wouldn't it be funny? He leaves TNA, TNA doesn't think he'll be nothing, and then before the year's over, he could be Ring of Honor World Champion.
How you like them apples?
Yep. That'd be about it for our show this week, guys. By the way, we did forget to bring this up. There are more NXT guys coming up to the main roster. Adam Rose and Bo Dallas. Bo Leave.
Oh! Bo Dallas sucks.
Believe. You gotta believe.
I actually like Bo Dallas. He's actually good, decent in the ring. The problem is, he doesn't have what his brother has. He doesn't have that.
Yeah. You just hate Bo Dallas because he eliminated your boy Barrett in the Royal Rumble.
No. Did you not hear what I just said? I like Bo Dallas.
Now you're just... No, you must be drunk.
No. I like Bo Dallas.
Hey, look, man, the Wyndham clan has never really been fucking charismatic.
Yeah,
Kendall was living proof that he was no Barry.
No, but Bray Wyatt, who we all know is Bo Dallas' brother, Bray Wyatt can hook you on the mic. Bo Dallas, yeah, he can't hook you on the mic. Of course, Adam Rose, yeah, that's, how can I say this? That's the godfather of Al Venus and John Morrison all rolled into one.
Bo Dallas entertaining? You might as well just bringing back Simon fucking Dean.
I truly think that Bo Dallas only is coming up because he had a pretty successful run as the NXT champion before passing the torch to Adrian Neville,
a.k.a. the man who defied gravity,
who I believe may be next to come up. I mean, that seems to be the trend. You know, you carry the NXT belt for a while, and then you come up, as you see, Seth Rollins came up, and then, you know, Big E followed. That seems to be the trend. Once you become the man down there and you get over enough, you know, then we bring you to the main stage and see how you do.
By the way, just in case of anyone who did not watch NXT this week, the man who defied gravity's next feud will be with Brodus Clay. Yes, Brodus Clay still has a job.
Jeez. And I thought JTG was up fucking Shit's Creek without a paddle.
Well, I don't know. I think that's good for. I think that's good for Brodus Clay. And I say that's good for Brodus Clay is because now you get away from all the funkiness, shit, all the Funkadactyl gimmick. You get away from the Funkasaurus gimmick. You go down to NXT, and then it's like it should be naturally easy because for one, he's bigger than Adrian Neville, so that's an automatic mismatch. So you shouldn't have any trouble portraying that you're a monster because you're already bigger than Adrian Neville. So like he's the automatic underdog now. So now you just, you know, you got to see him, you know, Brodus can be what he was when he was with Del Rio, when he was pretty decent as, you know, a bodyguard, a heel monster. I think this will be good for him. I think a lot of people should be sent down to NXT to revamp. Like, I think Kofi needs to go.
Ooh.
You know, the one problem with that is some of us that cannot afford the
WWE Network.
Yeah, the network. Yes, you can fucking see it.
Ew. Well,
wait, do you really care about Kofi Kingston anyway?
I think in all fairness, yes, just because of the fact that he's one of those guys who really has been busting his ass and hasn't been given that kind of a good, solid push. I mean, for the fact that we're talking about a guy who pretty much has proven that he is definitely a highlight reel when it comes to battle royals and Royal Rumbles. He's proven that time and time again. But for him to basically be just, you know, pushed off to the side for the NXT guys, never really given a legitimate shot to become a world champion or even something high, or pretty much for that matter, a WWE champion when they had both belts. I mean, it's kind of, in fairness, you kind of got to feel for Kofi because he happens to be a African-American man with actual fucking talent, probably more talent than half the guys they actually put the straps on.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Kofi's problem is not that he's not talented. He smiles too much. It's like when you smile too much, that gets annoying. As you can see, when Kofi left, then he came back, he didn't really get the pop he was normally getting before he left. Like, because Kofi is one of those guys who he is forever stuck in the middle. He's a great mid-carder, but you can only be a mid-carder for so long. Like, I mean, I know there's a lot of guys who made a living just being the Intercontinental Champion, but they also had that main event status where they could easily shift. Kofi is yet to break that glass ceiling, and I don't think he's going to do it as a babyface. I think Kofi will only propel to the top if he's a bad guy. That's why I say you ship him off to NXT because, like Kara said, not a lot of people can see NXT. So it's not like, oh, damn, now I got to watch Kofi on NXT because that's a different audience. So it's like you let Kofi play around whatever you want to do with him, which I say make him a hit. And by that time, you bring him back up to main TV, Kofi's now a bad guy or he now has a legit attitude.
But here's the biggest thing. Here's the biggest question. Will the fans buy Kofi Kingston, who's been a fan favorite pretty much since he arrived? Will they buy him as a heel?
You know what?
They would have to be doing something pretty convincing. Like, I think since he's here, he's never been a heel. So, I mean, it's got to be something very big.
He had a small heel run when he was at FCW. Very small, but he did it before. Like, you got to, like...
It was small for a reason.
Okay, guys.
Right, I'm saying, Black.
That we have to end the show.
Okay.
We're running out of time, so we'll have to pick up with this next week, unfortunately, because we are running out of time. Yeah. That old clock is running out on us. So, for myself, Kara, have a good weekend. Captain On, have a good weekend. Good luck to the Blues this weekend. And
Second Red Wing.
Rose, I don't know what teams you like, but good luck to whatever teams you have, unless it's the Yankees.
Fuck the Yankees and the Red Sox while I'm thinking about it. Sorry, Georgie, my brother, I love you, but fuck the Red Sox.
Well, I got against the Yankees.
I'm an Orioles fan, that's why. So until next week, signing off everyone here on the main event. Have a great weekend. Be safe and enjoy the weekend. See you next time, folks. Woo!
Bars closed. Get the fuck out.